This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, Casey, I can't share my screen.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. So you should be the presenter now, Amy, so I'm hoping that you can share your screen.
All right.
All right, cool. We can see it.
Say, Lucille, could you maybe mute your, cool, thanks. So as Casey said, welcome to the Great Give Back Promotion Idea Exchange. I apologize for the sound of my voice. I have a bad case of poison ivy, so I'm on some Benadryl, which often makes me sound a little slow. Anyway, so the point of this particular meeting is to sort of check in to see where people are at in their planning and to give ideas, exchange ideas for how to promote our events and get our communities excited to participate. So I'm going to pull up, we're just doing a little no judgment Mentimeter to see where people are at. Casey's going to explain how this works.
Hey, everybody. So I don't know if y'all have done this before. We've done this in a couple of our webinars. It's kind of a fun way to see what the folks in the room are thinking when we can't actually be in the room together. So if you take out your phone, you can go to menti.com and you can put in the numbers that are at the top, 5144439. So Amy, we lost your screen. If you keep your screen up.
Sorry, that was
There you go. All right. That's okay. So if you all head to menti.com and you put in that code there, you should be able to respond to the quiz there, and then we can see where people are at here. We wanted to see, how far have you gone with the Great Give Back, or how much development have you been able to put towards it at this point? It looks like we have some folks who are still working on an idea. They have an idea going, and we have some people who are in the process of developing their relationship with their partner. Some people already planning their promotions. I don't have anybody who's starting to get buy-in from the community, and it doesn't seem like anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, which is very good. Yeah, so I had some responses here. All right, so people are still developing those local partnerships. That's good. Great Give Back is a great way to develop those partnerships. We saw last year a lot of folks, they were able to create new partnerships or even make their partnerships stronger and just to help reach a little bit further with the work that they were doing. All right, so we got a couple of responses here. Some people are already out there getting the buy-in from their community, so that's good. We have one person at least doing that at this point. But a lot of people still, they're working on their idea and they're developing that partnership with their local partner, and there's still time to do that. So it's a good thing that everybody came to this webinar where we're going to talk about doing some promotion of the event that you're doing for the Great Give Back.
Yeah, this is great. It means that this hopefully will be useful to folks. I'm going to switch back to the slide presentation if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so a number of people are still developing their partnerships. These are just some groups that some libraries have told me they're working with, hence their logos there. And the things that we wanted to remind folks, not that you didn't know, but sometimes it's good to have a list, that you want to work out who is handling registration, infrastructure on the day of the event, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Oh, I was supposed to do an overview. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. So basically what we're going to do today is sort of go through those steps that were in the Mentimeter. We're going to talk about developing your partnership and about different ways that folks are working on promotions. Maureen Garcia from Mountaintop is going to talk about the partnership she's developing. It's a group she's worked with before. Kristen Campbell from Hurley is going to talk about what she and West Hurley have decided to do jointly. And then I'm going to put on my other hat, which is head of programs and youth services at Red Hook Public Library, and talk about what the partnership that we're building there. Then we're going to talk about buy-in and then promotions and then event infrastructure. So sorry. Anyway, so you want to also talk to the partner about cross promotion. See what they've got. Do they have a newsletter that they hand out? Do they have, if they're affiliated with a church, do they have announcements in the bulletins there? Do they have social media? Do they not have social media? Make sure you ask them. And see if there aren't ways that you can coordinate with them. And then definitely ask them also for their logo. You can snag some off the internet, but they aren't always the greatest quality. So if they are relatively tech savvy as a organization, they probably have pretty easy way to drop you the PNG or JPEG files for their logos. Okay. Oh, Maureen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. So Maureen's going to talk to us a little bit about an ongoing relationship that Mountaintop has had with the Tannersville. Oh, I hit space. I swear. I don't know how to go backwards. I promise you all that I am far more normally professional. Oh, great. It's on my face. That's why I had to take the Benadryl today in spite of this. I'm sorry. Okay, Maureen. So Maureen's going to talk about the ongoing relationship she's developed with Tannersville and how her experiences from last year's Great Give Back have what she's learned from that and how she's making some changes this year.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that you have poison ivy. That sucks. I hope it heals up sooner than later. But yeah, so we partnered with our local food pantry last year, and we did the day of the Great Give Back that Saturday and the week before, promoting us as a place to drop off donations. And my thought being this year was, since it's still such a necessity and the food pantry is being used more and more, they're only open 2 days a week here for a very brief window of time. So I just said, since we have the space and we're there, that we would be a drop off indefinitely for them. So we created this flyer and we've already gotten a bin full of food to give to them. So we started promoting last week with this, and it's on our social media, on our website, and we'll be doing flyers throughout the community. But I am going to reach out and see if they would like to, cross help advertise that as well. That's a great idea. So we used Canva to create this, one of my savvy staff, and we got their logo from their website, and then we used the thank you card that they gave us last year there in the corner to help create this. And yeah, I was really excited to already have gotten donations for this, and we just started. So hopefully it'll last for a while, at least while I'm the director there.
So
that's it.
So you've built out of your Great Give Back partnership from last year, you're planning on being a year-round location. Is that what
I figured, why not? Yeah, I mean, it's the need is there. They do take donations at the village hall, but again, their hours are kind of curtailed at this time too. So I figured we have a large building and area to keep it, so why not? Yeah,
cool. I bet they're pretty excited about it at the food pantry.
They are very excited.
Okay, so Kristen.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Oh, mercy. Okay. Sorry, I am trying to. Casey's going to be like, yeah, your internship is over in 5 seconds. Okay, there we go. Sorry, Kristen.
Thanks, Amy. So we are doing the Great Give Back, Hurley and West Hurley Libraries. This is our first year doing it, so we don't really have any past experience with this, but I do have past experience with the Ulster County SPCA. I'm very lucky where I have a couple staff members that volunteer for them, and we also have a local author, Nancy Furstinger, who's one of our dedicated patrons here, and we have done a program with her in the past where all donations have gone to the Ulster County SPCA. And what I have found this year from listening to Nancy and to my staff is that all of their fundraising has essentially been it has not been happening because of COVID-19. So they're kind of in dire straits for any kind of monetary donations, but not only that, but donations concerning food, litter, toys, and all the other pet necessities. So what we came about to plan is that Nancy, our local author, is going to read one of her books. She writes about shelter animals. Her most recent is called The Duchess and Guy, which is nationally published, and it focuses on Meghan Markle's adopted dog that goes and lives in, Windsor Castle or whatnot. So the kids really like the story. So she's going to read that. And then we're going to hold it at Dug Hill Park to promote social distancing. And this is a place big enough for both libraries to have people come and have social distancing to make the craft. Everyone will have their own table, or every family will have their own table. And this also gets the town involved because Hurley likes to promote Dug Hill Park. So we have the town supervisor, John Perry, on board with us to help us get the word out that we're going to be hosting this event on the Great Give Back Day. Ulster County SPCA has been great to work with. They're very thankful that we're doing this, and they're going to help us get the word out on their social media and on their website. And because I don't know if everyone else is experiencing this, but with my programs lately, everyone's a little bit hesitant to come out to the library to programming. My programs tend to run pretty small anyways, and with COVID-19, the numbers just aren't there. So we're also going to offer make and take kits at the library, essentially having all the materials that you need to make do-it-yourself dog toys. And then the people can either come out to the event on the Great Give Back Day or drop them off to the library so we can donate them to the local SPCA. I also included on the flyer the QR code that when you take the picture, it brings you to the wish list that the Ulster County SPCA needs. So not only can you do monetary donations, you can also donate an item from this wish list to the event. So we're hoping for a pretty good turnout, and it's nice that we can still hold it outdoors on October 17th. And this is a work in progress too, so I have a lot more final details to lock down. I think we've been kicking around the idea of maybe a photo pet contest and an entrance fee for that. So more to be told on this story starting October 17th.
Well, this is great, Kristen. Thank you. I like the way that you've found a creative way to have sort of a family event outside that is also related to giving back. So, and I am totally going to snag your QR code idea because as you'll see in the next slide, the next example is mine, the Red Hook Public Library and the Residential Center. So in Red Hook, there is what's called the Red Hook Residential Center, which is actually a juvenile detention facility. One of the challenges, I've worked with their teachers and their librarian, or it's not really a librarian, but the person who coordinates the educational materials. A lot over the years, getting them requests and lending them stuff from programs that I've done that they want to repeat there. Once we had a few of the kids come sort of on a field trip, but what my relationship with them in terms of supporting them has shown me is that they have nothing. So while there is a food scarcity problem in Red Hook, we've got a lot of folks, a lot of small organizations addressing it at the same time. But this was an opportunity for doing something for a group of kids that have very little. One of the challenges about this is that community education is required. I'll give you a little example. As part of my, developing buy-in, I mentioned this to the mayor of the village, and he he said it's not called the residential center, it's called Red Hook Commons. So Red Hook Commons is a low-income senior housing. And I said, no, there is a juvenile detention facility in Red Hook. To give him credit, it is in the town of Red Hook. He's the mayor of the village. But if the mayor of the village isn't aware that it exists or is nearby, I take that as a sign. So one of the things that I've been doing is some community education because people just didn't even know that the partner I'd chosen for us exists. So basically what we're doing is making a library. I have another meeting with them this afternoon, the education staff and the psychologists to develop a book list of titles that are at sort of the range of reading levels and ages and content interest. This isn't something that's going to, meet all the needs of every kid who comes through there in the next, 10 years, but they haven't had anything new in 10 years. So I'm hoping that we can, on an ongoing basis, sort of renew what they have there. But this is the first one. So we're asking folks to donate a new or excellent condition book. They'll be dropping it off. We'll be storing them. And I was trying to figure out how to get the list of needed titles out. And now I know a really good idea. So I will be adding a QR to that. I also put the list at our local bookstore. We have an independent bookseller, Oblong, in Rhinebeck, and they're willing to give a discount if people decide to buy the books new there. I think that sort of covers it. It's so far with the community education, I have gotten a little bit of pushback from folks, which is sad because the youngest kid there right now is 9 years old, so it's a child. But for the most part, the community has been very excited, and I've mentioned it to all the school librarians, which has been helpful, as well as they have some duplicate copies of things that are in good shape that they don't really need on their shelves. So that's what we're doing. So now we have 3 examples of different events, different types of events with different types of partners. And we're going to move on to buy-in. So buy-in versus promotion. I talk a lot about buy-in. You can ask my coworkers; they'll roll their eyes at me. And it's not, for me, it's not the same thing as promotion. It's related, but the chief difference is that for buy-in, I start a lot earlier. And sometimes that's a social media campaign. We'll show some examples in a minute, but other times it's just constantly talking about something. So, as in my role at Red Hook, I attend all sorts of community organization meetings. We have Red Hook Together. We just have a gajillion. There's a lot of people who, I don't know, they love to talk. I mean, their intents are good too. So every meeting I've been going to since late August, I talk about this. And it has the cumulative effect of generating some buzz among the types of folks who are active in or in charge of other community organizations. So it's, for me, a way of building allies. in that regard, but it's also about getting your patrons excited. So here's examples of buy-in campaigns you might do on social media. I made these up. They're not real, but you should feel free to use them if you want. So, or something like them. One of the ways that I think buy-in is really helpful is to get your patrons excited is to give them information that makes it personal. So I looked up some statistics in the city of Poughkeepsie. 1 in 4 households experiences food insecurity. And the website had a lot of definitions for what food insecurity was. But the point of a social media buy-in campaign is to present bold information that will allow people to connect. And it empowers them, right? You can help contribute items from the list. I made up the Marvelous Library, who is running a food drive to benefit the Best Food Bank. So the thing about a buy-in campaign is it starts earlier, and it just gets people sort of thinking and excited. I don't know how many of you may have read some of the social media marketing kind of stuff. I would not pretend to be any kind of expert, but one of the truisms, and it's a truism because it's often true, is that people need to hear about something 3 times before it sort of sinks in. A buy-in campaign is a way of getting people's attention again for the same thing without, if you post the same thing 3 times, there's a tendency, think about yourself. I'm thinking about myself and how I consume social media to be like, yeah, I know that. But including something that allows people to tie it to their own lives. So here is another example of a food bank. If you were doing a toiletries and cleaning supplies drive, tell them, 78 families or however many families you can ask your partner used this food bank from our community. Like, help them to tie it in. And then, guilt never hurts. So that's what the tagline, your neighbors thank you, is for. Are these a little corny? Sometimes. Okay, so here's some examples of some buy-in campaigns for our cleanup event or Riverkeeper. Anyone who is planning on working with Riverkeeper, they have a Flickr account where they record pictures of all the garbage they pull out. So you can use that. And again, maybe it's sensationalist or manipulative, but I think something disgusting motivates people, right? So there's a truckload of garbage. They have a bunch of pictures of this is just from one day. And again, like, get their attention and then empower them. Together, we can make a big difference. This, I'm not even sure, I think it's like an old TV, but it's hard to know exactly. And so then tie it to them as well. Like, if there's a park that goes near the Rivershed area that your event is cleanup, or the park, ask them, like, have you seen garbage? Yeah, we have too. So make sure that you always also, or sorry, that's sort of pushy, but I always try to keep the language of we. Like, the library isn't telling you that you need to do something. The library is saying, hey, help us, together we're going to do something. It empowers people and gets them off the defensive. Or, you can just go something super simple, like clean it up. And again, this is just to get things in front of people's eyes a couple of times. So then buying in with humans, this quite obviously is something I made up, but I could have used one that I did for a different, not a Great Give Back event a while ago. Ben is the guy who makes the pizza in Red Hook, and everyone knows him and everyone loves him. He makes great pizza. So when Ben says to do something, people, especially young people, really get into it. And so, asking folks like that, folks that, you could certainly ask the mayor or et cetera. It's going to depend on, how they're popular, but also asking somebody that folks see every day. I've had some buy-in stuff with the high school librarian for high school programs. It does require finding somebody who's game, but it can be a very effective way. And especially if those individuals are planning on participating, right? So if Ben is coming to the Riverkeeper cleanup, that's even better message. So Yes, and so community members and also allied businesses like the pizzeria. Okay. So this this is a drive that the Kirkland Town Library, which is up by Utica, did last year for Great Give Back 2019. They had a bra drive where they collected bras for a shelter. And they had to be new, just in case anyone was thinking that. So what they did is they put progress reports on their social media. And I just think of this as, you know, it's guilt, it's manipulating people, but it's also, you know, it's manipulating them to do good. It's reminding them, hey, you know, you meant to do this, like it's not too late. So they they started referring to this pile of bras that they were maintaining in various geological formations, and they sort of showed it. There's earlier ones where it's, you know, barely a hill or a lump, and then it's Mount Brawmore, and then Mount Brazier. They had fun with it, obviously, and giving people sort of progress reports on how the collection is going when you have a drive that's going over, you know, 17 days or however many days you've decided, is another great way of getting the event and the meaning of the event in front of people's eyes without using the same exact thing. And I know we are all working at small libraries that don't have a lot of time to be producing all kinds of stuff. So the progress report idea, it's a photo. I'm not suggesting that you pile up underwear, but it definitely got attention, and it seems to have been a very successful Great Give Back event last year. Are there any questions before I go on to promotions? Okay. So promotions. Classic public library promotion would be flyers. And I have found, as I'm sure many of you have, that flyers under COVID are a whole different thing. What did they do with the bras? They donated them to a shelter called Emmaus House. The pushback with the youth facility was a little bit racist, a little bit anti-city. There was basically some ignorance as to who and where the residents of the residential center, where the kids are from, and the perception that they couldn't be kids from around here. They can be, they aren't all, but they can be. Obviously, I'm not giving out personal information that I have gathered from my partnership there, but yeah, it's part of the education that this particular event partner requires, but it's also, frankly, in my opinion, really good for the community to have to think about this. So flyers. I don't know about every public library, but I know enough to do this. And I used to do this as well, sometimes sending flyers through the bins so that other libraries around are putting them up on their bulletin boards too. And this used to be great, but now I know, at least in Red Hook, we are open to the public. We limit the number of people at any one time. We do not have the same kind of traffic past our bulletin boards that we used to. I have done over the years that I've worked there, when people register for things, clerks know to ask them, where did you hear about the event? So I can sort of keep track of what our most effective promotions are. And without fail, I saw it on your bulletin board. So what that's telling me under these current conditions is that I really need to rethink flyers, because most people were seeing it when they came in, and now most people are not coming in. We still have curbside, so a lot of people are continuing to use curbside. So I asked myself, where are people still going? Now, I don't live in Red Hook, but I live close enough to Red Hook. And honestly, I might as well live there because I'm at the library more than I'm at home. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. But where do people still go? Well, they still go get the ice cream at Holy Cow. There are long lines, socially distanced lines outside Holy Cow when it's open. They still go get groceries. And if you're doing a food drive or a toiletries drive or a pet food drive, talking to the supermarket and saying, hey, you know, can you put up these flyers? That's just smart, right? Because it's opportunistic if people are going into the grocery store. And then, you know, think about the related organizations. I mentioned that I had spoken with the local bookseller. They are also open to the public, but have reduced foot traffic. But they've got a very active social media. You know, if you're doing anything with animals, people are still taking their pets to the veterinarian. And, you know, at least at my veterinarian, you have to hang out outside while the animal's inside. So you might as well see if the vet minds if people, you know, have to look at something. And obviously where it can be possibly hung up, it depends on the particulars of the veterinarian. But, you know, don't be afraid to think about the types of businesses that have allied interests to what you're promoting, and or are shopping opportunities for any type of drive. Has anybody come up with some clever flyer idea to match our new reality that everybody else needs to know? Sorry if I'm asking you to give some trade secrets up, but I do know a lot of other, or two other organizations in Red Hook have switched from flyers to like yard signs. Community Facebook pages, Miss Jen. Yeah, that's I'm about to, the next slide is gonna talk about digital promotions, but yeah, definitely. Two organizations in Red Hook have switched to yard signs instead of flyers, which, you know, could, you know, they are more expensive. At least we would have to order them at Red Hook. I don't know that any library has the ability to make those things, but it might be worth it, right? If there is only one grocery store in your town and the grocery store is okay with you plopping a yard sign by their door about the drive for a certain period of time, you know, you can give that a thought. Sidewalk signs are the best way. Yeah. I'm assuming you mean like sandwich board kind of tent, like the upside down V. Yep. Yeah, and like for Kristen, since she's got the town on board and it's in a park, a sandwich board can be there. Yeah, Maureen's saying post offices, gas stations. Yeah, these are places people still have to go. So you can think in terms of those things. Our school district, Red Hook Central School District, also has a virtual backpack, which is where I often send a PDF of our flyers. So I'm going to switch to this. You know, it's unclear how helpful. Yeah, Miss Jen's schools have that too. I send stuff anyway. I'm not sure that it's gonna be getting the same kind of response as it used to. But that's just because parents are already overwhelmed. So when it talks about promotion, if you send out a newsletter quarterly or monthly, October 1st is a great newsletter opportunity to mention your event, promote your event, and, you know, get it in front of some folks' eyes in a different format. And then cross-post with other organizations. So we talked about cross-posting with the event partner, but this is also where you can look at businesses or other nonprofits that have aligned interests, you know, that match up with what you're doing for Great Give Back, and see if they wouldn't be willing to cross-post. Sometimes it's a simple tit for tat, right? If I ask an area nonprofit to cross-post something for us, then I say, you know, I'll owe you one, you know, we'll cross-post something for you. We don't cross-post things that cost money to participate in, but everybody at this point knows that's the case. So sometimes your social media following can be an asset when you need or want other organizations to cross-promote for you. And as Ms. Jen said, don't forget the Facebook community websites, Facebook groups, things that you probably use regularly, especially when you're talking about a drive or something where people need to buy something. Going to what I've been assured by a middle schooler are old people social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram are valuable because the so-called old people, he was including me in that list, of course, they've got the money to buy things. They're the ones who, you know, are out there making the decisions about what's going in the shopping cart. So it's for us, or at least for me in Red Hook, it's a slightly different promotional path than I would take if it were a teen program or a teen event, for example. And then I might look at different types of social media. Does anybody have a social media related or digital promotional trick they want to share? Okay, if you think of something, just throw it in the chat box. So don't forget the toolkits that Casey and I put together. If there's something else you need or want and you're unsure, just give me an email, shoot me an email, and I can try and help you out. It's also, you know, animations and videos are great, especially on Facebook. Yeah, if you use Canva, they have free animation stuff that's helpful, and I'm sure some of the other platforms people use have that also. You're right, getting things that move attract people's eyes. Oh, nice. So Anna is going to be sending out videos of the chickens. I'm sorry, and I don't actually know what your, unmute yourself yet. Tell us, what are these chickens?
So, okay, there's a farm, one of the things that after doing a lot of research, a lot of the farms in LaGrange were having a really hard time. And in fact, one of the farms that the LaGrange Library had worked with before many times had to shut down. So we're working with the Lilymore Alpaca Farm, which is in northern LaGrange, and attached to that is an animal sanctuary. So it's mostly birds right now. They have a ton of chickens. They have a giant turkey. But one of the things you can do is you can sponsor a chicken.
Nice.
Which is the cutest thing. So
yeah.
What we're going to do, we're going to pick 4 chickens, and we're going to have a sort of a race between them. So each week we're going to put out a video of the chicken with a bio that I'm going to probably fabricate, and you know, where you can sponsor the chicken, where you can donate. And the chicken who wins is going to get a tiny crown, and the person who donates the most money is going to get a giant chicken plushie that I'm going to make them. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yes, I mean, think about all the people who are watching the pig races at the county fairs. So I have no doubt that video of a chicken race will be very popular and definitely great for buy-in. Sure. Cool. Yeah. Can't remember what I was saying. Oh, but the toolkits, the links, we can include a link to the toolkits. The link went out with the last presentation, the slides from the webinar there, but we can include it in the slides that go out after this one as well. Okay, so event infrastructure. Oh, not a physical race. Okay, you know, that's probably safer. But it would be amusing to watch because I'm not convinced that chickens would be willing to run side by side anyway. So for the event, it would be, oh, chickens are fast. Yes, true. But they would need some sort of lanes. So for the event itself, you know, one of the things that we get concerned about is we don't want to be pushing libraries to put too much on their already very full plates. So being clear, you know, what the staff's responsibilities are and aren't, and what they can turn down. If you have a list of requested items, you know, letting the staff know that if someone comes in and says, here, I have this whatever box full of fresh produce and you're not taking produce, that they don't have to take it, or they can, you know, as we say at Red Hook, call on one of the people that makes the medium bucks to send them away. As you do this, so this is a little bit like, I'm going to be a little facetious, but it's like CPR. So if you've done CPR training, the first thing that I tell you is you don't just say somebody call 911. You say you in the red sweatshirt with the purple hair, call 911. So this is sort of the same sort of thing. Designate someone on your staff or yourself who knows that it's part of their responsibility to take the photos, to collect anecdotes, to do follow-up surveys of participants if that's something you're going to be doing. Because as I'll say in a minute, that this documentation aspect of the Great Give Back is a really important feature. If you are doing drives, figuring out the space you're going to need inside your building, especially since you're probably quarantining library materials, and then also coordinating with the partners. Are they actually going to pick up all these cans, or are they expecting you to drive them over? A lot of times food banks have a truck and they would pick it up. So don't be afraid to ask them. And that brings me to the reason that we need to collect the photos and the anecdotes is because one of the chief benefits of the Great Give Back, in addition to all the community service, is that it's a wonderful thing for our advocacy efforts with New York State. And so here's an example. Cornwall Public Library just put a simple equation there showing how much they collected, coats, diapers, and cards. And this gives people a very quick brief, like, this was very effective. The public library is actively engaged in helping the community help itself, which is one of the important pieces of the awareness factor or the advocacy factor for the Great Give Back. All right, so does anyone have any other questions?
This is Casey. I guess I had a question about whether the chickens is part of the race if they were going to cross a road. It's an open question that I've had for a while as to why, but I guess if they're not physically racing, it might not be applicable here.
Well, that question is always applicable. Also the one about their eggs.
True. That said, now that the idea is planted in my mind, that might just happen. In addition to everything else, because
I look forward to any video.
Adorable.
Yes. Yeah.
So I saw that Kelly, I think from the town of Ulster, chimed in. They're doing a food collection as well, and they're working with the People's Place.
Oh
yeah. To donate the food there. And yeah, it seems like there's a lot of people who want to hear about how the chicken race goes. You might have some new followers on Facebook, maybe.
Yes, as it turns out, one of the ways to promote your Great Give Back event is to come to a webinar and tell us, because I'm definitely going to be following those chickens for sure. I mean, one of the reasons that we need buy-in is just, well, there's obvious reasons, but there's also a bunch of studies about how, you know, adult humans will give more for an animal than they might for another adult human. So if you've got animals that you can use, definitely do that. And if you are talking about doing stuff for other adult humans, you know, you might want to get a little creative or ask your partner organization, you know, how many folks they've served and how. Oh, puppies. Yeah, everyone loves the puppies. On all the, when I was looking up Great Give Back stuff from last year and sort of the summary statements or the summary images people provided, the puppy videos really pulled me in. Oh, cool. So Courtney says that in Millbrook, they're setting up a town cleanup day, collecting food for a month for a local food pantry and making cards for residents of the local senior center. Oh, because you don't know when to stop on brainstorming ideas. Yes, I'm fortunate that my boss will often say, and that's enough. But yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, one of the things we haven't talked a lot about is that there is also a community need. People want to feel connection. And if we can offer them concrete ways that they can make a difference for other people, then that's it's an intangible community need that the library is helping to get met, but it actually is quite important. So yeah, extending your Great Give Back efforts helps a lot of people in a lot of ways. Oh, a blood drive and a food drive. So yeah, people can do something in person, but also do things that can be distanced from. Yeah, and I think that, COVID requires a lot of creativity in that way. Like the way Hurley and West Hurley are doing a kit you can pick up if you don't feel comfortable being in person. It's great. It's great when we can think of ways that folks can be included, even if they're not comfortable or able to do the main event.
I like that blood drive idea. I don't think I had thought of that, but it's sort of, in my experience of blood drives, it sort of does lend itself to a socially distanced event in many ways.
Yes.
And I know that sometimes it already has an appointment thing. And obviously the people who are doing a lot of the work at the blood drive they're taking a lot of the precautions that you would be taking anyway for the social distancing and wearing a mask, and they're trained professionals in that area. So that's a really great idea and a really timely thing.
And they often even have a bus. I don't know if you guys in Millerton have one of their buses coming, but it means that they do all of the COVID required cleaning, which is helpful. Okay.
So if I could just interject
Yeah,
in just one thing. We'll send out a follow-up email to everybody who is here, and we'll send one out to the notices list so other people have all the info. But if you do know what you're doing and you see that link, there's a link that we're using to gather the information about your event to be able to post it in a central place. So when you have the details of your event, please fill that out, okay? And let me and Amy know if you have questions about that.
yeah, registering your event, again, it fulfills the advocacy thing, but at least I know in Red Hook, last year, I had multiple people who came to participate in our event because they'd seen it on the Mid-Hudson listing, and they came from a distance, and that was cool. So, all right, then here's the contact information should you have any questions, and I'm perfectly happy to help if you need it, or bouncing ideas, that's totally fine too. That is a good question. Casey, do you know the answer to that?
So I think as soon as you have it, we'll put it online, and we'll try to publicize it. The sooner the better. But if you're still sorting stuff out, then don't feel bad. And if you have questions, again, you can let us know.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Maureen, and thank you, Kristen, for being willing, happy guinea pigs in this webinar. So thank you all for coming, and good luck with the Great Give Back. Definitely let us know, and don't forget to take lots of photos.
All right.